Hi, everybody. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. So this week we are going to be covering list of locations. This is a Flex app block with this list of locations selected. Anthony is going to talk to us about it, walk us through how to set that up, what the CSV file is going to look like, and we will go from there. He's very excited about this. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to turn this over to Anthony.
All right, thank you so much, Tracy. Like she mentioned, today we'll be talking about the Flex app block and using the list type list of locations. The list of locations is great if you want to, list out all of your locations and then also provide the user with proximity data. So telling the user how many miles away are they from, your locations. So I have already created a app project here. I just titled it List of Locations for this webinar. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new app block. I'll just call this Locations. And it's going to be a Flex app block. I'm going to click on Apply. All right. Now we're coming to the familiar Flex app block configuration screen. From here, what we're going to do is change the list type from basic to list of locations. All right, we're going to go ahead and click on Apply. We have to change the list type to list of locations because that's what will provide us with the proximity features the platform offers. So once you change it to list of locations, down below you'll see that you have some new configuration options here under the Global tab. You'll see we have the first option, should items be organized within a set of folders. So if you want to categorize your locations, whether it be urgent care or the main hospital, if you want to set up certain groupings for your locations, so you can do that through folders. If you have a server that provides the content, like XML, you can turn that option on as well, although we do offer REST, which is a much better user experience. Down below we have two more options. The first one is the limit return content items to blank total items. So what's great about this is if you have hundreds of locations, you can limit the number of items to 10 items, 20 items. And then the next option here is another limiter, and it's limit return content items to blank miles from the device user. So what's great about this option is you can allow the app block to only show locations that are at a maximum of 30 miles from the user, and you can set that up to whatever you like. All right, if you made any changes here, you can click on Save Global Configuration. And the next step we're going to do is actually upload a CSV. So, of course, you can upload CSV like with the basic Flex app block. You can do the same here with list of locations. And before I upload my CSV, I actually want to open the CSV file on my Mac here to show you how it's all laid out, what all the columns look like. So I have it pulled up here. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. So you see we have the first column here, which is just the SysID. This is just numbering the records that will be uploaded into the platform. But then we have these two columns here that are very important. These two columns are the latitude and longitude. This is what will be used in the Flex app block to give the user the proximity information. So telling the user how many miles they are away from your location. This is via the latitude and the longitude. And then from there, we've just laid out all the different columns for the different information that we want to include in this app block. So we have the location name, the office hours, the address, the phone, email address, a description of the location, and then of course we've included images as well. And for the images, we're actually pulling that in from a hosted image on a server, so here's a URL. So you do have that capability to bring in an image via a URL. All right, if everything looks good, we're going to go ahead and upload it to the platform. So I'm going to come back to CSV upload, click on select CSV file, and I'm going to upload this CSV. So I only have a couple records here, so it's going to upload very quickly. And from here, we can go to the next step, and I have 2 app blocks here. All right, from here we can go to the next step, which is at the data mapping. So the data mapping is going to show you all the fields that you just brought in. So you see like the location name, the office hours, the address, the phone, the email address, etc. So you can walk through these to make sure that the field types are accurate. So for example, location name, we just leave that short text. The address, we want to make sure that that's on street address. The phone number, we're going to want to make sure that that's on phone number, and so on and so forth. Images, make sure the field types are on images. One thing you'll notice is that in the data mapping, you don't see the latitude and the longitude fields. So these are not going to show up in data mapping, but they are there. It's on the back end, and the platform is going to use that again to show the proximity information. Now, from here, you can go to your App Office to view all of the information you just uploaded. The App Office is our CMS tool here in the platform, and you will see in the App Office that the latitude and longitude are there. And from here, if anything is incorrect or if you want to make any changes, of course you can do that with the little edit icon here, and you can also add new records as well. So now we can go ahead and go to phone canvases. We can start designing how we want our list of locations app block to look. So first, I'm going to change the row colors here. I'm just going to change these to white and then a light gray, something to make everything easily visible. And of course, you can add images, text, and you can really spruce it up to make it look really nice. I'm going to keep it really simple here just for the sake of the webinar. I'm going to go to my toolbox under my content, which is showing all the information that I pulled in from that CSV. I'm going to drag and drop a couple items over. So the first one I'm pulling over here is just the location name. I'll pull over the address here as well. And then lastly, I'm going to pull over this this option that's called proximity. Drag and drop that onto the platform. Now you see when that gets placed in the platform, you have a proximity of 1 mile that gets listed. So this is just a placeholder. So no matter what the location is, whenever you drop proximity onto the canvas here, you're going to see it just display 1 mile. It's just showing you how it's going to look, and that's just a placeholder number. Of course, from here you can edit, any of your text content. I'm going to make this text here a nice black so it's easily readable. Okay. So once you have all of your content onto the list view, you can go and add some actions if you like. So under Toolbox, we have our actions. So something unique with the list of locations app block is the map list items action. So what's cool is you can take this action, drag it onto your navigation bar here, and the map list view will actually give you a map view and drop little pins showing where all of your locations are. So one thing to note, if you have quite a few locations, let's say I'm here in North Carolina and there's a location all the way in California, for example, and I go to that map list view, it's not going to zoom in automatically on the locations that are around me. Instead, it's going to start showing all of the pins. So you're going to see the whole country. If I'm in North Carolina and there's a location in California, so it's going to show all the pins, so it's going to be zoomed all the way out. Another thing you can do with the map list view is you can actually make it the default view for when you come into this app block. So here under the property section for this action, you'll see there's the display map as default view for this app block. So you can check that, and when the user presses the button, on the home canvas, when they first get to this app block, what they're going to see is the map view, and then they can switch it back to the list view if they like. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and go to my detail view. I'm just going to go ahead and drop a few items here. And I've already placed a few items on this detail view, like the name, the proximity, the address, and then of course a description of the location. We also have a nice image that we can drop in as well. And again, I'm making this very simplistic. You can add in, custom images, different text labels, to really spruce it up, make it look good. I'm just showing you sort of how everything can function. All right, and once you have all of your content here on the detail view, of course, you can go to your actions, and then you can add in any actions. You'll see that there is an action here called directions. So what's great about directions is you can take this, drag it onto the navigation bar, and with the directions action, it can only be applied on the detail view. And what it will do is when a user comes to the detail view for a record, for example, this record here, if they click on that directions action that's natively using that arrow there, it would actually bring up their map app on their phone, whatever their default map app is, and it'll start to give them directions to this location. Another way that a user can get directions to this location, from their default map app on their phone is by clicking the actual address. So it's another option if you don't want to include the action here on the navigation bar. You can also allow the user to just click on the address. The platform recognizes that it's a street address via the field type, and it will be a tappable feature. So they can click on that or tap on that address, and it'll bring up their default map app. All right, so that's pretty much the list of locations. I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for some questions. So if you have any questions, please do type them into the box or the pop-up box on your screen there.
I got a question over here. So the question is, so let's say that I have an address, but I don't have a latitude and longitude for my CSV file. How can I get that?
Okay, great question. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that just in case you guys couldn't hear it. The question is, if you have an address but you don't have the latitude and longitude, how can you retrieve that information? So I'm going to share with you a great tool on a website that I use here at the office to gather the latitude and longitude information. That website is mygeoposition.com. So here's the website here. All you have to do is come to this text box up top, and you can type in your address. I'm going to type in the Mobile Smith office here. And then you're going to click on Calculate Geodata. What it's going to do is pull up that address in a Google Map view, and down below you can see the latitude and longitude. And from here, what you can do is click on this copy button. It'll copy both the latitude and the longitude, and you can take that and paste it into your CSV or into the platform if you're using AppOffice. Great question.
Anthony, in your showing this, you showed bringing it in through a CSV file. Is there other ways to bring this data in, such as using the REST calls?
Clarify that question for me one more time.
You demonstrated how to bring the data in through uploading a CSV file. Is there another way to get the data into the application, for instance, using a REST app block instead of the Flex app block?
Okay. Great question. So you can definitely bring in, location information via REST services if you'd like. The one key thing here is you cannot use, or the proximity feature is not available with our REST app block. So you can add in, for example, the latitude and longitude, but you will not be able to allow the user to get that proximity data. Now, that being said, we do plan on adding that feature into the REST app block here in the future. So, great question.
All right. How do I get an image of my facility location in the correct format for the CSV file?
Okay. So regarding images in our platform, first of all, as far as the file type for the image, our platform works best with PNGs. So if you have like an image on your website, if you have an image on your server, there's a couple ways that you can get it into the platform. So as far as the CSV file here, and I'll bring that up on my screen again. In this example, all we did was host the image on a public URL on our server. And so when you upload the CSV to the platform is basically going to hit that URL and then pull in the image from that URL. Now, the other way that you can get an image into the Flex app block for list of locations is via our app office. So if I go to my app office here and I go to one of the records, you can actually upload the image directly into the platform as well. So those are the two ways that you can bring in images onto the platform.
Are there any plans for a future release to allow the search radius to be changed by the user at runtime? Meaning dynamically say search within 5 miles, search within 10 miles, instead of what's specified in the platform?
Okay, great question. So currently we don't have any plans to allow the user to, dynamically change the search radius. But that's a great feature, and we'll definitely take a look into that. All right, does anyone else have any other questions?
All right, so at this time then, it looks like there are no other questions. So thank you everybody for attending this webinar. We have recorded it and we will have it up on the webinar site by the end of the week. As always, you can go to our webinar site where you registered and view old webinars that you might have missed, or any ones that you have ideas on. If you do have an idea for a webinar, please reach out to your client success specialist and let them know what you would like to see us cover. Our next webinar will be the launching of a new knowledge base. Brandy, our certification trainer, will be going over that webinar for us, showing the new knowledge base, the ease of search. I think everybody's going to really like this knowledge base. And again, Anthony, thank you so much for covering the list of locations. And let us know if you have an idea for a webinar. Y'all have a great day, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks.